Ruminating can be an embarrassing, frustrating, time-wasting punishment coming out of narcissistic abuse. As if you weren't punished enough in the toxic relationship, it seems now you're punishing yourself after getting out of a toxic relationship in your own mind by replaying the events and the trauma over and over and over again in your mind. It seems like there's no end to it until now. I know this area all too well, which is why I'm going to share with you 3 steps to eliminate ruminating thoughts. The 3 steps include, number 1, allowing it. Yes, you want to allow them. Number 2, consider your life and what you're not doing. And number 3, plan your steps forward. These 3 things will work together to eliminate ruminating thoughts once and for all. Let's talk about this. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I continue with this very important message, I want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I do take telephone calls as well as video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. So if you're looking for one-on-one support to get you over and past ruminating, head on down there, schedule some time with me. I'd love to talk with you about it. Also, I do have a coaching program. My coaching program is live and in person each and every day. Now, the Royal We community is founded upon coming together, breaking the trauma bonds, and holding each other accountable, staying no contact, moving into 2023 toxic free. There's going to be future events and meetups planned. It's a really great community. If you're looking for that accountability in a group, head on down there and join the Royal We coaching program. Now, we're talking about ruminating thoughts, the ongoing punishment coming out of narcissistic abuse, or really having experienced any traumatic experience in your life. Ruminating thoughts is, in fact, closely related to CPTSD. I'm not going to talk about why it's so difficult to get over ruminating thoughts. I have that in a video right here where you can watch after this one. We talk about how it's closely related to addiction. So if you want to learn more about ruminating thoughts, how closely it is to addiction in your life, watch this video. In this particular message, I just want to talk about steps you can take to eliminate the ruminating thoughts. Beginning with number 1, the first thing to understand is that you need to allow the ruminating thoughts in your life. Now, you've spent enough time in a toxic relationship where you felt voiceless, where you couldn't stand up for yourself. You couldn't defend yourself. Chances are you've spent your entire life feeling voiceless, feeling you have to zip it. Don't process the pain. Don't talk about the pain, on and on and on. Don't become yet another voice that says, don't do this. Don't process this. Don't feel this. Don't punish yourself any further. You need to become the one person in your life that's able to sit down next to yourself and say, it's okay. Get it out. The reality is it's not going anywhere. All your life and in the toxic relationship, you've been stuffing. You've been zipping it. You've not been expressing all the pain, all the frustration, and as a result, you're like a pressure cooker. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to fill you up with steam and you're going to implode. So be the one person that says, no, it's okay. I'm going to express this. I am going to think about it. I'm going to go over it in my mind. I'm going to vocalize it if I need to. I'm going to scream if I need to. I'm going to shout if I need to. Give yourself permission. All right? Another part of allowing it comes down to understanding the deeper part of ruminating thoughts that nobody talks about. You see, there's a deeper reason why you ruminate. There's 3 types of ruminations here. Number 1 is just replaying old arguments and old traumatizing experiences in your mind. The second is imagining similar traumatizing experiences in your mind. They can be make-believe. And then the third is it can enter even into what's called violent fantasies. A violent fantasy is imagining you being the victor, you coming out on top, you actually being the abusive one, even though you're really not that type of a person. Now, let's have a deeper look at these and what's really going on. How many of you remember the Marvel movie Infinity War? Anybody seen it? Well, if you haven't, there's this character called Doctor Strange. And you're kind of like Doctor Strange. I'm kind of like Doctor Strange in this way. There's a scene where Doctor Strange is sitting down and he's this master of time. And as they're trying to figure out how to beat this bad guy, Thanos, Doctor Strange goes into a meditation where he starts to time travel in his mind and he visits all the possible outcomes of winning this war against this bad guy. When you are ruminating, it's kind of the same thing. You're going into a deep meditative state where your mind is analyzing all the possible outcomes of what could have been said differently, what could have been done differently. How could you have maybe won here or maybe gotten out of it over here? Your mind is looking at all the possible ways in which you could have avoided the toxic experience and the abuse. So you see, there is a deeper purpose for ruminating. It's not just about replaying the traumatic events that you can't get over. It's processing. It's learning. Your mind is filling in the holes and the gaps of what you missed. So it's important to allow it. Now, here's a quick list of do's and don'ts while you are allowing yourself to ruminate. All right? Do excuse yourself wherever you are. If you're working, take a break. Your coworkers and your boss don't need to see you sitting there talking to yourself and checking out mentally while you're having a ruminating episode. It can be very embarrassing. I've been there. I've had to walk off of a job because I started talking to myself while ruminating. All right? So excuse yourself. It's the polite thing to do. All right? Don't share your ruminating experience with everybody else. They're not going to get it. And it may just cause shame and guilt in your life because they're not going to understand. So excuse yourself. All right? The next important thing that you need to do is document the experience. This is a key, pivotal thing for you to do. Document the time, the place, where are you, what's going on when you experienced the ruminating thought. You can write it down, pen and paper. Actually, who uses pen and paper anymore? Just take out your phone and voice record. Make yourself a memo. I'm at work. This is what happened. I experienced this ruminating thought, or I was driving in my car. I experienced this ruminating thought, and it was embarrassing because someone at the stoplight saw me talking to myself and started laughing at me. But you don't have to include all that, but just the time and the space, document where you're at while you're ruminating. All right? So allow it. Do excuse yourself, and then document it. Now let's go into number 2. This is an important piece of why you are documenting it. Take an inventory of your life and what's going on. Step 2 of ending ruminating thoughts is to consider your life and where you're at. While you're documenting, and as you're thinking about and considering your life, you're going to realize that you're not where you really want to be. And of course you're not. You just came out of an abusive relationship. But beyond that, what did you not do? What have you not accomplished? What are you not doing actively every day? Let me give you an example. For me, just a few years ago, when I was still ruminating, I would stop. I would allow myself to go through it, thrash about for a bit. Then I'd stop and I'd say, okay, Kevin, what are you not doing right now? And then I'd have to take an inventory of my past week. Well, I didn't get enough videos done. Right? I could have done this better. I could have done that better. I didn't. So I'm looking at what I didn't accomplish. And there's an important piece to this. Ruminating seems to be linked to a sense of not being satisfied with where you're at. So this is why it's important to consider where you're at. And then number 3, which is linked to this, is starting to plan your steps. So you've allowed yourself to ruminate. You've considered the things that you're not getting done in your life, which is opening that window and that door for the added possibility of ruminating, right? Now we want to start planning our steps. So you start to just consider, what can I do better? What do I need to get done this week? What do I need to get done this day? Now, this becomes a distraction for you. This is what is going to allow you to learn habitually over time how to stop ruminating altogether by moving forward. All right? It is a distraction tactic, which is okay. You want to slowly start to implement in your life distractions while simultaneously allowing yourself to experience the rumination. So you don't want to rob yourself of ruminating. This is why I put these steps in order. Allow it first, because it's important. Okay? Then consider what you're not getting done, and then plan your steps forward. These three things are not going to end your ruminating overnight. But in time, if you practice these things, I promise you, your ruminating will go away. As I said before, I'm here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments. Head on down there, schedule some time with me. If you want to know more about why it's so hard to stop ruminating, watch this video. If you want to know more about ruminating and other traumatizing issues that you're going to struggle with, watch this video. And I'll be back with more right here on The Royal We.